Welcome to episode 1 of us trying to answer your questions on
Yep.
Facebook.
Yeah, so this question came from Facebook.
I have it up
From
here. I have it up.
oh, you,
Yeah,
you have it up.
yeah. Didn't see
What do
it.
you mean you have it up?
Like half my window is the Facebook questions, and then the other half is our faces.
Oh, like they can see it.
Yeah, they can see it right here.
Oh, cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we're doing that first question, where Jay Martin asked, "What is the characteristic of your most profitable unit, and why do we think it's so profitable?" Pretty good, pretty good.
Okay, so it looks like you don't have an answer, so I'll start answering.
Oh, I thought you were gonna answer.
You're gonna throw in some shit if you want. Okay, fuck. What are the most profitable unit property? Why do you think it's so profitable? So, one of the most profitable units that I looked at when I looked at it is a unit where we actually charge less than other units, but there's very little vacancy because one of the travel nurses in the Menlo Park area actually stayed for 9 months. And when you have an arbitrage and you have no vacancy and they stay for 9 whole months, that is like immense, right? Like all the other units we charge more for, but there were more vacancy, right? Like you think like Mountain View, Palo Alto, one of the more like richest place in the California area, Bay Area. So we charge more for those because of the location. However, it was more vacant also because probably of the pricing. Now, for this question though, I think the intent of the question is to ask, well, what are the characteristics of your most profitable unit property, and therefore you can replicate it against all your properties and be maximally profitable. So my take on this question is like this. So we have, for our specific situation, is we work with apartment managers, property managers, and we have a lot of units that are exactly right next to each other, and they're exactly cookie cutter. And even the Menlo Park one was pretty cookie cutter. So they all had, actually no, the Menlo Park one had like second-hand furniture because it was the first unit, so it's a lot cheaper. But everything else is very, very cookie cutter. There's no variation between one unit and the other, and you would have literally, 123 Fake Street number 1 right here, 123 Fake Street number 3 right here. One would make almost like not that much money, and the other one would make an enormous amount of money. And you look at the numbers, you're like, what the fuck, right? Especially like if you look at it, like compare it last 12 months. So I find that and the cookie cutter, right? Exact same location. They're like 5 feet from each other. All the furniture is the same, like layouts the same, everything's the same. But one would make way more than the other. And what I take from that is to, instead of just looking, if you're looking to build an Airbnb or VRBO or corporate housing empire, is instead of looking at one unit's numbers, kind of look at the aggregate of the area and kind of say, hey, like Mountain View is doing stuff like this, Palo Alto is doing stuff like this. There's legislatures and laws to kind of restrict things that are going on. Looking at the aggregate gives you more data and kind of allows you to have more confidence in the data, because when you're only comparing like one unit to another, it's very, very hard to say what's good and what's not. And looking at the aggregate, I can tell you, like looking at the aggregate and then also compare unit by unit, like all 13 units, I can tell you, the units that do the most well are just simply units that are filled in the wintertime. And there's no distinguishing characteristics between one unit and another because, as I said, they're like 5 feet or 5 minutes from each other, a lot of them. So, optimizing your vacancy and really like good marketing will allow one unit to be more profitable than the other, because the most profitable units are the ones where, like, so Q1 and Q3 are like fairly profitable for most units, and Q2 is like okay. Q4 is kind of where the real like horse like delineating factor is, right? The units that kind of get by in Q4 and like break even actually does very, very, very well. The units that like have a horrible Q4 actually like just cancels out a lot of the year's profits, and as a result, you still profit, but like not as much. It's not like a thick juicy profit, right?
Mhm.
With all that said, you can add stuff there if you want.
Yeah, so like what Angela said, a lot of our units are we just buy the same furniture. Sometimes when I like advertise, I might just pre-post with like the same photos. So I wouldn't say our units are very have different like personalities or anything. So it's kind of hard to tell exactly like what makes a unit, a specific like one unit profitable based off of like what they look like and stuff, because they all look the fucking same. Um, but again, like I agree with Angela, right? Like winter time is rough. If you can write out the winter time, and whoever loses the least amount of money during the winter is the victor.